So you're ambitious, right? You've got those big dreams swirling around in your head. You see yourself successful, living that life you've always pictured. Maybe it's traveling the world, starting that business, finally getting in shape, or just feeling genuinely happy and in control. Yeah, that life. You want it. But then, reality hits. There's this problem. You know exactly what you should be doing to get there. The roadmap is in your mind. Yet, you just don't do it, day after day. And that familiar feeling starts to creep in. Guilt. That heavy weight in your chest because deep down, you know you're capable of so much more. You see glimpses of your potential, but you're stuck in the mud. This guilt isn't just a fleeting moment, is it? It builds up over days, weeks, months, until it becomes acceptance. You start to believe this is just you, lazy, unmotivated, and then, bam, New Year's Day. And with it, those same goals, recycled from last year. You start off strong, fueled by that burst of New Year motivation, maybe a little bit of wishful thinking, a sprinkle of delusion that this year will be different. But you know what's coming next, don't you? Procrastination. It creeps in like that one relative, you know the one, who always shows up uninvited and just lingers. Your lingering procrastination, that I'll do it later mentality, turns into a daily cycle of laziness. And before you know it, you've slapped a label on yourself. I'm just a lazy person. So, how do we break this cycle? How do we break free from the procrastination prison we've built for ourselves? Well, you're in luck, because the internet is overflowing with videos on how to beat procrastination. But let's be honest, most of them only scratch the surface. They address the symptoms, like delete social media, remove distractions, use a planner. And while these might help in the short term, let's face it, they rarely stick, because they fail to address the real issue, the root cause behind why we procrastinate. And that root cause, my friends, can be summed up in one word: inertia. You might remember it from high school physics. In physics, inertia is the tendency for objects at rest to stay at rest, and objects in motion to stay in motion, unless acted upon by an external force. This, my friends, is Newton's first law of motion. And get this, it applies just as much to our tasks as it does to physical objects. Getting started on any task, no matter how small, requires an initial push, some amount of energy to overcome that resting state of inertia. And this is precisely the issue. We make this initial push so huge and difficult in our minds that instead, we just avoid the task entirely and distract ourselves with cheap dopamine-inducing activities. You know the drill. So, to break free from procrastination, we need to break the inertia. And there are two powerful ways to do this. First, reduce the stakes and take the smallest step. Getting started is always the most difficult part. So, we need to make getting started as easy as humanly possible. Reduce the stakes. Take the smallest step forward imaginable. For example, if you tell yourself, I need to sit down and complete my 5,000-word essay, the inertia is huge. The stakes feel impossibly high. But instead, if you tell yourself, I'm only going to write 50 words, suddenly, the feeling of inertia is much lower. It feels doable, even easy. Now, it's pretty easy to get started. You don't need to rely on willpower or some magical burst of discipline. Method 2, the 2-minute rule. This is another popular and incredibly effective technique. If you don't feel like doing the work, just tell yourself you'll do it for 2 minutes. And then, you can stop, should you want to. For example, you don't feel like cleaning your room? Put on a song. Clean your room and stop when the music stops. 2 minutes max. Don't feel like working on your side hustle? Tell yourself you'll just open your laptop and work for 2 minutes. Don't want to go to the gym? Just put on your workout clothes and walk out the door for 2 minutes. The best part is, usually you will continue longer than 2 minutes. You'll end up writing more than 50 words, and this is because Objects in motion stay in motion, meaning once we get started, we start gaining momentum, and this momentum keeps us going for longer. Initially, it's like pushing a ball uphill. But once we pass that point of inertia, it's downhill from there. And that's why it's so crucial that that initial push is small and easy. In other words, reduce the stakes and start with just 2 minutes. You can apply these 2 methods to any area of your life to overcome procrastination, whether that's getting to the gym, working on your side hustle, maintaining your relationships, learning a new skill, tackling that daunting project at work, or pretty much anything you can think of. As Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "You don't have to see the whole staircase, just take the first step." So take that first tiny step today. Break free from inertia and start building the life you've always imagined.